Hey guys, it's Curtis. I'm back in the gym. I'm going to talk to you today about a piece of equipment that if you train landmine at all, you need to get. Today I'll be breaking down the Cleva Adroit landmine. This is the version 2 and it is pretty freaking awesome. When you look at other companies' landmines design, it basically mirrors that of a universal joint, something that is taken from another industry into the gym industry and then just accepted as is. However, the Clevas refused to accept that and they decided to come out with their version 1 Adroit landmine, which used a very smooth acting ball type joint. This had its limitations from the side-to-side rotation, and so when the Clevas went back to the drawing board, they decided to come up with something that had absolutely smooth rotation and all axes, 360 degrees all over the place, and this is what they came up with. It's rack attached, and there also is a post version of this as well, but I have the rack attached landmine. It has a polycarbonate sleeve, and it comes with an AbMat barbell pillow in the bottom. What this does is it completely eliminates any and all contact from a barbell to any piece of metal in the setup. So if you're one of those people that has a really nice power bar or a really nice weightlifting bar and you don't want it to get scratched or dinged up or whatever, this thing was built with you in mind. On top of that, it actually just looks really good, being able to see the sleeve, being able to see through. I just like the color option myself. I think it looks great. It's available in this black and this fluted design. Now everything here is basically really systematically and well thought out. We're going to start with how it actually attaches to the rack. So we have this, we'll call it a knurled nut of some variety. Underneath that we actually have a sleeve and a rubber ring that holds that sleeve on. The reason that this sleeve is here is because when the Clevas went to design this, they only want to develop like a single SKU, a single item. And so what they did is they created a 5/8" rod that you can mount to like a Monster Light, PR4000, the Belza Steel 3x3 with 5/8" holes. Basically, you can mount it to any of those options. And then if you have like the 1" version, you can simply remove this adapter, and what's holding the adapter on is this small O-ring that's up in the top. And to be clear on this, even the adapter is well thought out to where it has like a little bit of a cutout so that the O-ring doesn't extend past that. But if you just grab it and twist, it'll pull the O-ring up so you can get a hold of it with your fingers. And then from there, just pull the O-ring off and pull your sleeve adapter off. So now you have something that is not only available for 1" racks using the 1", I think this is made out of aluminum spacer and it's anodized. It's really nice. But you also have the ability to do it on 5/8. Additionally, if you're running on 2x3, you can basically use this on a 2x3 with 5/8" holes rack because you can just continue to thread it down on there until it goes tight. So really cool mounting options, super well thought out. Now I have a 1" rack, which I'll do a video on eventually kind of explaining why I went from 5/8 to 1", but I'm going to put the sleeve adapter back on and talk about a couple of the other nice attributes of the Adroit landmine. As I alluded to earlier, the installation of this thing is also incredibly easy to do. All that you do is basically insert it at the height on your rack that you wish to install it. It'll go through both sides of the upright and then take the screw and thread it on the back side. It pulls it into a nice alignment and it's a nice and very quiet operation. One other step that the Clevas took when they designed this product is they wanted to get away from this kind of clunky, oh, my landmine is laying here or my landmine is out in the way of the rack. And they added this magnetic mount option. What this does is it very neatly and smartly carries your Adroit landmine so that it's out of the way. It stores nicely, it stores vertically. You could also use it to store horizontally if you really wanted to. I just have mine stored vertically here, and I use this rack all the time. Now, I will say that occasionally on maybe a more aggressive re-rack, maybe a heavy squat, or maybe I fail a rep on something, it doesn't take all that much to make it fall down. So I have knocked it down a couple times, but I've never realized in the moment that I've knocked it down. It's always like in between sets during my rest period that I'm like, oh, I just knocked over my landmine, and I basically just reach over, bend over, and pick it up. But either way, it holds it really smartly out of the way. It's the right amount of magnetic pressure. Any more than that, and I think it would be annoying to take it on or off. So the Adroit, the version 1, was already the smoothest landmine basically that was out there. All the other versions use a universal joint, or at least most of the other versions use a universal joint, and are basically inherently a little bit clunky based on the tolerances of products. Where Cleva has gone right is they've gone with this round bearing that basically operates very, very smoothly. It has very tight tolerances, but at the same time is not unforgiving to the normal dirt and grime associated with the gym, coming from gym chalk, moisture, that kind of stuff. So it still operates smoothly, completely and totally. There's no clunkiness at all. And then they also added this housing for that joint that also goes 360 degrees all the way around. And that way you get that completely unlimited space that it can move through without being obstructed by anything except for the rack that you have it mounted to. On top of all that, between the version 1 and the version 2, they've also improved the joint and the bolt that they use. So basically this kind of fork that attaches everything together, it now uses a threaded hole on one side and a clear hole on the other, eliminating the need to have a nut. Not only did it look kind of clunky, but this really just looks cleaner. That's the biggest advantage that it gives. It also makes assembly way simpler. Now, if you're sitting at home and you're watching this and you're like, but I have the version 1 Adroit landmine, I don't have the version 2, you don't need to fear because they still support that version 1. And if you want, you can actually get conversion kits that can take your version 1 to a form of this. You can check out the website for more. I've linked it. And so if you're sitting at home and you're like, I think I want to get this new adapter because I don't like that I can't move side to side as much on the version 1, go ahead and follow that link, figure out what package works best for you, select it, and check out. Now, the version of this that I have is $159.99. That doesn't include shipping or tax. I'll say that for that price, you're getting the magnetic mount, everything super nice, basically all the bells and whistles that come with an Adroit landmine. If you don't get the magnetic mount, it comes in at $139.99. And let's compare that price to other major manufacturers that are in the landmine market. Now, because this is made in USA, I'm going to start with comparing it to Rogue Fitness. Their top of the line Monster Series landmine, which only works on 1-inch racks and uses a more solid looking but still universal joint, comes in at $145. So right there, comparing an American made product to another American made product, Cleva is actually coming in under the price with increased compatibility across different racks. Now, if we go on the opposite spectrum and we start to compare it to some of the import options out there, now keep in mind some of these import options, a landmine will still work, even if it's the universal joint, kind of less smoothly it'll work, but it will still work for you. So if we compare it to Rep Fitness, we have their landmine attachment that comes in at $89.99. Now that's a lot less expensive, but you're getting a lot less refined of a product. So for about $50 savings, what you get is basically a tube with that little 1-inch tube. I guess if you use a 1-inch bar, if anybody still uses those besides Vintage Weights, PGH. And that's compatible with either the 5000, 4000, or 1000 series racks. Now, something to note here is that you're gonna have to actually change a set screw every single time that you wanna move this thing on your rack. For most of you out there, that probably won't be all that often, but if you train strongman, you'll need to move it up on your rack in order to get like a Viking press, and then if you wanna do rotational type work or explosive pressing type work, you'll have to move it down on your rack, and every single time you do that, you're gonna have to go get that Allen wrench set and move that set screw up and down, versus the Cleva built version, which basically you just undo the screw and move it up and down your rack and put it back on. Of course, there's plenty of other options out there. You could also just throw the barbell in the corner. I totally get that that works in a lot of use cases, but something to keep in mind is that the Adroit was designed with someone who really wants a more refined product in their gym, something that's not going to scratch their barbell sleeve, something that's going to keep everything looking very pristine, very high-end, but also come in at a fairly affordable price. So that's about all I have to say about the Adroit Landmine version 2. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Is this something that's worth it for your home gym? That's been it. I appreciate each and every single one of you that watch these videos every week. And remember, when it comes to building your garage gym or your home gym, you should always keep it better, awesome, and of course, badass. I'll see you next time.